The Suns and the Bucks, so I'll start with you, Brian, are both now without a player who is either their best player or their most important player to the outcome of games. In the case of the Bucks, Middleton is their barometer. Giannis is always there, but Middleton is their barometer whether or not they win or lose, pretty much. Those guys are all gone, both gone for 2 weeks. Which of those teams, Suns or Bucks, is in bigger trouble?
Both in a little bit of trouble. I would say right now.
And both series, by the way, are 1-1 going back to the visiting team.
Right. So I would say this is like a bit of a cop out, but it's like the Suns they have more stuff surrounding the infrastructure there is so good,
right?
And they still have a primary creator in Chris Paul to sort of like make it hum. That there's like more of a cushion, but they're missing than Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks. The Bucks don't have anything to replace his shot making. Maybe you dial it up with Jrue Holiday, but he has not been very good so far this series. But Booker's he's been so good this season. Like he's been a top 5-6 player in the league. He's been sensational. He allows them to do so many different things offensively, and that you can have the Chris Paul section of the offense, you can have the Booker section, then you can have when they get to the blend. And Booker basically makes them impervious to any coverage you want to throw at them because he can just get a bucket on anybody.
Right.
And he's a tremendous passer and he can score from every level of the court. His three-point shooting's been terrific this year. So I would say the Suns, but I also want to, take into account that they played well this year without Devin Booker. And they won 64 games, and their numbers without him are still pretty good for the most part. They've got, you just bring Cam Johnson into the starting lineup.
Right.
Sounds pretty good. But, the Pelicans right now with the shot making, with Brenden Ingram and CJ McCollum, and the defensive wings that they have with Jackson Hayes, what he's doing for them, Herb Jones, it's, I don't know. I'm a little bit more worried for the Suns than I am for the Bucks.
Well, just as a counter to that, and I want to talk about C.J. McCollum in a second. The reason why I'm more worried for the Bucks is because the Bulls, for a time this year, looked like the best team in the East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And DeRozan is not afraid of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Zach LaVine, who is obviously, a
star,
complete star. I think they've got the mindset that they're not the underdog even with Middleton.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that is a problem for Milwaukee to deal with because they're playing against what I believe to be a more potent opponent. As for the Pelicans, is it possible that C.J. McCollum meant more than just his ability to that team?
Yeah, I think so. But real quickly, I would like to cycle back to Milwaukee, Chicago real quickly. I kind of like the matchup for Chicago a little bit. They've got the shot makers. You mentioned LaVine and DeRozan. The Bucks want to play drop, right? They want to drop Brook Lopez into the paint. And they got the guys that can just shoot and just say, well, you're not up at the level of the screen, we're shooting. And maybe Milwaukee will try to play more small ball with Giannis at center and switch, and Chicago will have to counter that. But also without Middleton, Chicago can also more aggressively help on Giannis. And you saw them really dial that up in game 2. And Milwaukee's offense was bland, and they could not make those help responsibilities pay, and Alex Caruso was terrific in that capacity. Back to McCollum. Yeah, like the leadership, the shot making, the ball handling was so necessary, and what it allows them to do with he and Brenden Ingram, they've just jumped a level. There aren't a lot of 8 seeds that have 2 like all-star caliber creators, and so to get his experience in the door and the shot making, he can play with or without the basketball. Huge addition for the Pelicans midseason.
Yeah, look, I just think that he added a level of credibility, and like I'm not saying this to be disparaging, but a level of professionalism that the Pelicans had lacked, even though they have had professional players. I mean, Jrue Holiday was there, right?
Yeah.
And J.J. Redick was there. They had professional players, but I just thought that when McCollum got there, there was a seriousness about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was not exiled, whether that was the plan or not, from Portland. He was not exiled to New Orleans. He was brought there, and he turned them in. There's talent there.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of talent. But yeah, they needed him. He was the one that's pushed all the right buttons for them. It would be they started off the season so poorly, like 1-13, 1-14 to start the year. First year head coach, Zion the absence of Zion hanging overhead. And then they started to find their ways, but when he came in, it just obviously it amped them up a level the last 2 months.
Look, I don't know how good a coach Willie Green is. He has certainly been really good down the stretch because they were not anywhere near the playoffs, and all of a sudden they get in the back door, and now they are running around in front of the house.
Yeah.
So
shooting 49% on threes in this series against Phoenix so far. Pretty good.
Yeah, and Ingram's been
he's incredible.
great.
I mean, he's the guy can do everything.
And Zion's been phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, they haven't scored yet when he's been on the court. So all this complaining about Zion's defense, I feel like he's really tightened it up here.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I mean, I want Zion to play, but I don't know.
Next season, it'll be fun next year.
Will he play next year?
I think so.
Okay.
How could you not want to be a part of this? Like, this team is so much fun and awesome.
It's funny that you went, I think so.
I mean,
we're not sure.
I thought he was going to play this season too, and
I thought he was going to come back too, but he's obviously when he was dunking on Instagram, I thought he was going to come back, but he's not. All right, I don't know if we're going to grab Brenden again or not, but is Brenden back?
I'm back.
All right, man. I'm going to give you. We've already exhausted the Suns and Bucks conversation, so let me give you this. Is Brooklyn done?
No. You know what? I'll say it's funny you should mention that. I was just talking to DC about this, Cox about this. I think that they lost a close game in game one, which was one of the best games, one of the best playoff games, one of the best games I've seen in a really long time. And maybe it's my blind belief in the ability of Kyrie and KD, but I think they're going to even this series up. I just don't think that KD is going to KD's looked discombobulated for the last 2 games.
Right.
Like even in game one, his handle was loose. Like he's gotten ripped off his handle a couple of times.
Yep.
He just seems off of his game in a way that I'm not accustomed to seeing him. And I can't even super remember him when he was with the Sonics, but I'm assuming this has been back since then that he's just been unable to hold on to the ball. And yeah, there's been a couple. Yeah, they're blitzing him and they're sending multiple guys at him. But this ain't the first time he's been double teamed in his career. Right. And he just has looked off. I don't know if he's hurt, sick, tired. I don't know if he just feels a certain way about this second season of Bridgerton. I don't know what it is, but something is off with him, and I'm hoping that this is going to correct itself. Kyrie, I think at some point will, game 2 was rough for him, but game 1 was so fantastic that we'll shrug and just kind of move on. I don't think that they're going to get dropped off like this again. I love the fact that they used Bruce Brown in this kind of short roll situation because he's 6'4". He has some guard skills and is better in those 4-on-3 situations. I just don't think that they're going to I don't think they're going to roll over and die. I really, really don't. I think they have too much pride with those 2 guys who have had so much success. I think they got too much of that. I think they get right back in this series.
Yeah, by the way, reporting from Woj the last couple of minutes, Robert Williams planning to return for Boston in game 3.
Right.
And Ben redacted Simmons set to potentially make his season debut in game 4 for Brooklyn, according to Woj.
Ben Simmons is going to play?
According to Woj, game 4. Simmons is back, baby.
All right, is that a good thing for Brooklyn?
I think defensively it does help, but it is going to be wild to not play for over a year and then get just thrown into the middle of this series. I agree with Brenden. I don't think Brooklyn is done. I don't want to overreact. And game 1 was so close, and game 2 was close for large stretches as well. Durant's going to play better, but Brooklyn's process on offense has to improve. It cannot be, hey, Kevin, spread pick and roll. Right. We're going to let Boston switch and show help and recover and just maul you in the middle of the court. And it was like, well, where's Kyrie Irving the last couple of minutes while all of this is happening? I think you need to get Durant off the basketball a little bit more. I know Boston is being very physical with him when he's trying to come off those down screens, but it cannot be Kevin in the middle of the court with Jason freaking Tatum taking his soul and all of that, the length to help. Boston's defense is incredible. they switch, they can show help, they mix coverages because Tice and Horford can drop when need be. But Durant's incredible, and like he's gonna play better. Like he just is. He can't hold this guy down, but for so long.
Is Durant playing poorly, or is Boston making Durant?
Durant's playing poorly. Like when there was a moment when he had like 3 or 4 turnovers in that game too, and Jaylen Brown just strips it off of his handle. That doesn't happen. Like there were times when he can see multiple bodies and stuff like that. Again, not the first time he's been doubled, but okay. But when Jaylen Brown is taking it off his dribble at, from 33 feet away, no. Something else is happening. I don't know. And I'm not trying to delve deep into his psyche or anything like that. But this is a different sort of Kevin Durant than that we're used to. Maybe it is the complete frustration about what he's seeing. But in no way do I think that he's going to continue to shoot this sort of paltry percentage from the field. I mean, he's missing those pull-up elbows that are the bread and butter of his game. Nah, I just can't believe that that's going to happen, particularly at home for the next 2 games. I can't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't.
I do think they're making him guard defensively. Like he has to guard Tatum, so that's maybe taking it, and he's having to play big minutes and then run the offense. So like, yeah, it's tough. And like this Boston defense isn't just like an A- good defense. This has been a like historically great defense for a couple of months now. So they definitely deserve some credit because when you can switch with just elite defenders at every position and you can show help and you recover, boy, you can make even some really good players look not quite as good as you expect to see from them. So, but to the extent like Durant can also play better. I think he's missed some shots that you largely go in half the time for him. I just haven't gone down this series.
We've got maybe 60 seconds. I'm going to ask you, Brenden, both of these things because Brian and I have covered them, but I'm just curious. Who is really? We're kind of under it, so about a minute. Who's in more trouble with their injury situation and their opponent, the Suns or the Bucks?
Ooh, boy. Milwaukee's in real trouble. Chicago's a fantastic team. Pat Williams and Alex Caruso being healthy at this time gives them real trouble. They would have given them trouble anyway. Pat Williams is about as good of a defender as you could build on NBA 2K as you can get against both Middleton and Giannis. Ooh, boy, I think the Suns will get through. The only problem, the Suns have a lot of depth. The only problem is they don't have that top-tier scorer thing outside of Booker. CP3 can do it for stretches. I think that they'll get by. But, man, yeah, I think Milwaukee's in real deal trouble.
All right, you're the man. I appreciate your time. Brenden Whitted at HU Cosell on Twitter. Brian Geisinger at bgeis_bird. They are the League Pass Lair. Brian's also with accsports.com.
That's right.
Anything else you need to know, you can ask them on Twitter. Again, at bgeis_bird and at HU Cosell.